One of those in the Knesset gallery watching and listening to Vice President Mike Pence's speech was Joel Rosenberg. I talked with Rosenberg here in our Jerusalem studio just after the speech. So joining us here in our studio is Joel Rosenberg, best-selling author and Middle East analyst. Joel, great to have you here.
Great to be with you, Chris.
Well, actually, you were in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, and heard Vice President Mike Pence deliver what I would say was a historic speech. What was your reaction to his speech?
It was a historic speech, in part because no vice president of the United States has ever addressed the Knesset. It's not a typical thing when American leaders come over, unless you're the president of the United States, to give a speech, and even most presidents don't do it. So it was an important speech, and I thought he hit a grand slam home run. I think the challenge is which lens are you watching the speech? If you're watching the speech as an Israeli, or as many, but not all, evangelicals, you're going to be excited about the speech. The Trump-Pence administration has strengthened the Israeli alliance as a strategic goal. Like they're working through a series of things to try to make the relationship better after it was so badly strained. I mean, nearly a train wreck under the Obama-Biden years. Okay, so I think Israelis and American evangelicals are going to be very, very excited about this speech. And it was a long speech, and it was a detailed speech, and it covered many bases. If you're a Palestinian, you're going to be furious, mostly, most Palestinians. Mm-hmm. And if you're Jordan, Egypt, where the vice president just was, I'm not sure you're going to be happy about it either. The vice president did speak a lot about peace and the importance of peace, and America as a peacemaker. Right? To me, the headline for me was the idea that the vice president said, it seems impossible to make peace. There's so many cynics, and it's understandable. But the United States has helped Israel and Egypt make peace and enduring peace already. And the United States has helped broker a peace treaty that has lasted and is durable between Israel and Jordan. It can be done. Heroes of the past made hard choices, and they made peace work. Could it be done with the Israelis and the Palestinians? The vice president said it could be, and we stand ready. We want the Palestinians to come back to the table. I think that was important. Now, whether that will offset the anger that many in the Arab world have about the Jerusalem decision, I'm not sure it will overcome that anger.
And you have met with both of those leaders, Egyptian President El-Sisi. Actually, we covered that that trip back in November.
Thank you for coming to Cairo to cover that.
It's a great historic meeting as well. And then you've also met with King Abdullah personally, and also with that group as well. So how did he thread the needle? And you mentioned that in your article with those two countries, Jordan and Egypt.
The Jerusalem Post op-ed that was published Sunday here in Israel, I said the vice president has a difficult needle to thread. How do you speak to all these audiences at once? My recommendation to the vice president was to not come and take a victory lap. That you've got to talk about peace, you've got to talk about the hard choices, the compromises both sides are going to need to make. Otherwise, it's going to, even while the vice president just sat down with President El-Sisi in Cairo, and with King Abdullah in Jordan, and I think he made progress in talking in great detail and listening to their concerns. That was good. But if the speech here seemed too one-sided, it could damage the progress that he just made over the last few days. I think the jury's going to be out. I think it's going to take some time. But I thought the speech was very good. The vice president made it very clear. In fact, he accentuated some points that President Trump made in his Jerusalem announcement on December 6th. Namely, two key points. One, that while the United States recognizes Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, the boundaries of Jerusalem are yet to be determined by a final agreement between Israelis and Palestinians. I don't think most people in the Arab world heard the speech, I don't think they watched it, or read it. So what they heard as a headline was, Trump gives Jerusalem to the Jews, which was infuriating to them. But that nuance of, hey, we haven't defined the exact boundaries of Jerusalem yet, that was what the president said in December, and the vice president really underscored that today, as I know that he has in Egypt and Jordan.